Hey, what's up, guys? We are live here on Taylor Talk. This is episode. I don't even know what episode we're on, but it's our fourth year.
It's a high number. It's like 190 something.
190 something. Steve, you're our researcher. What episode are we on?
I'll look it up.
197? Did we just do that?
May have. I don't know. I'll
The
just go with
listeners
it.
know.
Well, this is Taylor Talk episode something. My name's Adam,
I'm Diane.
And I'm Steve.
and we are here, if you don't know already, celebrating our fourth anniversary on iTunes. I know this is on YouTube currently, but the podcast you guys know is usually on iTunes. Diane's nodding along with me.
Well, some people who are not watching this live could very well be listening to this on iTunes.
Possibly.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we've been on the air for 4 years. Just a few moments in Taylor Talk history, I guess, while we let some people join in on the live chat. So Taylor Talk, the Taylor Swift podcast, debuted with our first episode on November 1st, 2011. On that first day, within 24 hours, we broke 1,000 downloads on the first episode, placing us in iTunes' new and noteworthy section instantly, which was pretty awesome. Some cool things that the show's accomplished along the way. We've been nominated 3 times for the podcast awards, including one People's Choice nomination, which is their big award of the night. And that was the result of over 8 million nomination ballots cast. So that was kind of cool that we got there. And today we are, up over 3.7 million downloads and counting. So
Wow.
we've come a long way since that day one.
That makes it
1,000
sound really
download.
impressive.
What's that?
I said that makes this sound really impressive.
Yeah, we're not really. I'm just kidding. Maybe I'm not.
Yeah, you can't hide facial expressions that we normally do on the.
I know, like this whole like live thing where it's got our face on here. I'm really nervous about because I feel like in my nose, I can't like.
I scratched, like, I have a itch on my chin, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't scratch. Maybe we should take a moment and like adjust.
You can scratch. Scratching's fine. Just an overview of what this episode's going to look like, guys. We're going to be discussing the 1989 World Tour, which just ended its U.S. run last week. It has a few more stops over the next 2 months before the year's out. But because we're based here in the U.S., it's time for us to talk about it. Finally, yay. So we're going to do that. It's going to be a couple giveaways for you. Going to give away some Taylor Talk t-shirts, some of our vintage ones, not the ones I'm wearing, but the vintage ones that look like this.
Am I allowed to
Ooh.
win
No.
if I
No.
get a trivia question right?
No.
Oh.
But there's going to be trivia spread throughout the episode where you will have your chance to win one of these really cool t-shirts. We'll do our best for anybody audio delay. By audio delay, I mean
It's about a
listening
minute,
an
right?
audio version. No, I'm not talking about the video. I'm talking about the audio, like people listening on iTunes later.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So if anybody's listening on iTunes now to the traditional podcast, we'll do our best. Anything we're talking about, we'll try and at least describe a little bit so it makes sense to you. Hopefully it'll make sense, possibly. Yeah, that's kind of what the episode's going to look like. So be on the lookout for those giveaways. If you are watching live, please use the hashtag Taylor Talk Live on Twitter. That's how you'll be able to engage with the show. We're going to be monitoring throughout. So if you have a comment on something we are saying, that will be your way of communicating with us. So
Yes,
just tweet.
and I have a laptop set up over to the left off camera, and I am monitoring the hashtag. So if you tweet us, I will read it.
I will see it.
I will see it.
Nobody's tweeted us yet.
Keep that in mind. No,
That'd be kind of embarrassing.
At World to Taylor said, time for hashtag Taylor Talk Live. Join the fun at taylortalk.org/live.
Oh, well, thank you for that.
That's awesome.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, right now I'm just kind of stalling, letting a few more people join in, a few of the stragglers before we kind of really get going into it. Just kind of making stuff up right now.
What else do you want to make up?
No. It is probably fair to note to anyone tuned in live that there is about a minute delay. So if you are going to tweet us, don't think we ignored you if it takes about a minute for us to discover your tweet, because
Yes.
really we'll see it, but you won't hear us talk about it for another minute.
There's an odd delay, but it's not very long. We can handle it.
We can make it work. We've done it
It'll be okay.
3 times before. All right, let's jump into the 1989 World Tour. So once it ends officially, the 1989 World Tour will have visited 55 cities, including 31 stadiums, 52 arenas, and 2 music festivals. So something I found really interesting, just kind of going over some of this trivia and these statistics, is the fact that, and my source here is Xfinity, the tour sponsor, and one of their videos, they actually did the calculation and figured out that even though to us it seemed like this tour was smaller than the previous ones, it actually adds up to the equivalent of 250 arena shows in terms of attendance.
Well,
Wow.
when you say some people feel like this tour has been smaller than some of the other ones,
I mean
is that
smaller
in-
by shorter.
Okay.
Like it started in May, ending in December.
Okay.
It's all within the year 2015.
I think that's why we need to clarify that, because this tour was obviously not a small tour.
No. You're right. That's a fair
Yeah.
point. That is what I meant by smaller, is shorter in duration, doesn't have quite as many stops as some of the past tours.
But the
I
stops
think-
that she does make, the venues hold, at least it seems like
They're
a lot
bigger!
more people. They're huge.
Steve's laughing at me.
I like your enthusiasm. That's what it's all
Steve,
about.
I have some stats that you're going to be really fascinated with, because I think you and I are both logistical guys. We think a lot about how things work.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been very curious about how the tour works, because it's just fascinated me because it's such a huge production. And some of the stats I pulled out, I did a little research beforehand. There were actually 4 weeks of stage rehearsals, and at the end put in 2-a-day run-throughs of the entire show
That sounds
to get ready.
exhausting.
What's that?
That sounds exhausting.
I'm sure it was. It's like a 2-hour show.
Yeah.
They had to do that twice a day. A lot of work, a lot of energy went into that. Creation of the props took 7 months to plan, build, and test.
Wow.
I thought Steve would like that one for some reason, but he doesn't care.
No, I like it.
Oh, you like it. You like it.
So
I
that
said,
means
wow,
that
what
they
else you want me to
started-
say?
Like jump up and down or something. I don't know.
No, but okay, so if it took 7 months to plan and build everything for the tour, that means that they essentially started planning for the tour like the day after the album came out.
Right around the same time, yeah.
That's intense.
Which is pretty cool. Like I said, that was that was the props alone. Other than the props, there's 164 costume pieces. Took over 21,000 hours to create.
Wow.
I always wonder if she wears the same costume each night, or she has like 5 sets of costumes that she alternates.
She has multiple costumes that she alternates. That's one of the things she's done to make the show unique.
No,
for
but
people
I
that
mean like
visit multiple
different
tour stops.
copies of the same outfit, so that if she sweats in one, she can wear a different one the next night.
It's interesting you said that, because like I mentioned, my source for most of these statistics my source is the Xfinity videos, the tour sponsor. And as part of the crew that travels along, there is an actual wardrobe team that washes and repairs and does all that stuff to all the costumes at the end of each show.
Yeah.
So that way it's
makes
ready to go for the
sense.
next one. So instead of having duplicates, they just have people that fix them, clean them up. Kind of cool, right?
That is.
And fun fact, because Taylor loves sparkles and things like that, all of those costumes collectively have over 1 million beads and sequins.
Who counted that?
I,
I always wonder where they get these numbers.
Someone that really likes logistics counted each individual one.
well,
Or they know how many
Diane,
they
I
bought.
don't want to squash your little heart with this one, but I probably have a logical answer.
What's that?
Well, when they purchase the materials, when they purchase the beads, they purchase them in, say, a package of 250. Multiply that by the number of packages purchased, and you have the total number of beads purchased. Sorry to get all
Math
logical
with
on you,
Taylor
right?
talk.
Yep. Usually we're working on language and English and everything
I know,
else like
this
that.
is so hard for me. That's why I have so many questions about the numbers.
I like numbers. I like numbers and words.
I hate numbers.
Numbers are great.
Go away.
Numbers fascinate me, especially because, like I said, I'm such a logistically minded person. I'm always like, how does this tour work? And it's really funny because one of the things I was thinking of when I knew that we were going to talk about the tour this episode, it just that pops into my head. I'm like, I wonder how many people it takes to put the tour together every night. And so I set out and I found the answer for you guys because I was
Very
curious.
nice.
Apparently,
Nice.
traveling with the tour, there's actually 150 people roughly that travel with the 1989 World Tour, and that at each and every stop, they hire an additional 125 to 150 people locally that help them unload the trucks, build and tear down. And that actually includes the 150 traveling people, actually includes caterers. They feed everyone.
Well, they gotta eat.
Right.
People gotta eat.
That's an important job. I just want to say hello to Wayne and Lisa from the UK, and Olivia Wyman says happy 4 years. Pierce is listening; she's excited, and so is Augustin of the Swift Agency.
Augustin!
He is watching, so hello to all of you. So happy.
Hello.
To join us.
Augustin was actually going to get a shout out later in the episode anyway. You'll see why, because he is a wealth of information.
Oh, wow.
Really, like, it seems like when we get on and we hit the record button and we publish for all you guys, it seems like we know what we're talking about, but really we just go read Augustin's blog and just say whatever he says. And
No,
then
whatever he says. You make it sound like we are just mouthpieces for his blog or something.
no.
He's definitely a huge help.
He's definitely a
wonderful.
resource. Yeah, so that's that part. In case anyone's curious, just carrying on with the logistics. I know this is probably getting boring, so I'm going to wrap it up. 26 trucks. You know those things with the Taylor Swift on it and her face?
Yep.
26 of those with 11 buses that travel around the U.S. I thought that was cool. Cool stat. And then finally, the teardown process. This explains a whole lot. Have you guys ever been at the concert where they are rushing you to get out as fast as possible?
They're like,
and
over,
they're
let's
so
go.
mean about it. They're like, get out of here. Like,
Yeah.
right now, go.
They're like, you have to leave.
But we
Well,
want to stay,
apparently
stay.
Apparently that teardown process takes about 2.5 hours on average. And that's why they're kicking us out so fast. Because if you figure concert gets out at 11, they're not done working till about 1:30 a.m. So that's that. You guys don't care. I thought
No,
Steve,
I like it.
care.
I thought Steve would be totally excited about this with me. And
I am excited.
I don't believe you, Steve.
I'm sorry.
There's a girl who's listening named Lisa Price, and she says she loves numbers too, Adam. I'm a trainee accountant. Numbers
Oh.
are her thing.
Yep.
I love you. You're the coolest. I should have pulled more stats. I thought this was enough to bore people.
It is to me.
What?
Oh.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Rude.
I'm kidding.
Rude. All right, so we're a few minutes in. We don't even have a timer on this live broadcast. I don't even know how long we've been going, but we're a few minutes in. I think he gave everyone a chance to get here. Any late stragglers? Oh, we're about 12 minutes in.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get down to business, shall we? Let's talk tour.
Okay.
I thought it'd be kind of cool to share with people the experience of actually being at the tour, just very briefly before we really get analytical. It's so just starting from the point you walk in, something really unique is that they hand you those wristbands, right? Now, did you guys notice the detail here that when they hand you a wristband, I'm talking about the ones that light up,
Yeah.
their comment is always a gift from Taylor. A gift from Taylor. As they're handing it to you, a gift from Taylor.
Yeah.
What effect do you think that has on, in particular, a lot of her younger fans? I think they're really like,
I think the younger fans are probably like, really? Taylor wanted to give this to me? And I'm sure some older fans are like that too. I just think it's a nice touch because saying something like that, like we know obviously like it's not a personal gift from Taylor, but it's something that Taylor wants to give.
it's not?
It's something that Taylor wants to give to her fans to make her I don't know, her concert seem more like fan involved, because when people wrist and they have that like sparkle lights on that changes colors, it just adds a whole nother element, and they're almost like part of the prop of the show because they help it seem more sparkly. Why are you going away? Adam's
Taylor.
like, he was making space between himself and myself as I was talking. I didn't know why.
I was simply trying to point out the Taylor poster in the background.
That had nothing to do with what I was talking about, but okay.
No, it didn't. So you get that. That's your first moment, though, and I think that's a really. It shows how meticulous and detailed Taylor is in the planning of her actual tour, because it's thinking about the experience as a whole.
Mhm.
And I think that's really cool because it's thinking about you from the moment you walk in until the moment you leave. So you walk in, you get that wristband, you go in, maybe visit the Taylor Nation booth, which was out on the concourse, right? Now, what were your thoughts on that? Because here's something interesting. I thought when they very, very first, going way back before the tour started, tweeted something about Taylor Nation is going on tour and they're like, we're going to have a booth to come visit and whatever. I was like, why?
I thought it was going to be kind of hokey, but it wasn't.
But what it
It
turned
was fun.
into was the coolest thing ever. And that was one of the biggest draws of anything on tour is people would go and they would visit the Taylor Nation Stadium shows. The lines were like an hour long,
Mhm.
simply to take your picture in front of a backdrop and add a filter to it and then email it or text it to yourself.
Hmm.
So that was a really cool experience. And I think that was a really nice touch she added to this tour. Then, of course, after that, you go into the show itself, right?
Hmm.
Got your openers, and then you got Taylor. And you look around, and when you're looking around, I think that's when the magic first hits you that you're there. And you look around and see this massive room that is soon to be full of people just like you that are going to be screaming the words to every song.
Yeah, especially at shows that were outside, just because they're just massive.
Yeah, those outdoor ones, the
Yeah,
stadium
the
shows.
stadium shows were insane.
I mean, you got 55,000 people. So that's kind of the experience of going into the show in a nutshell. So let's talk show itself, shall we?
Sure.
We shall.
So it obviously opened up with her openers, which included, who do we have? Shawn Mendes, Vance Joy, Haim. Am I missing? Who am I missing?
Was
Steve,
that it?
sounds like you
At least the
did.
shows I went to, that's all that was there.
I don't remember anyone else.
Okay, so that's that. So starting with the openers, how do you guys compare these openers versus maybe openers on a previous tour?
I really like Shawn Mendes. I thought he seemed like a nice kid. I don't really know a lot about him except he's got
cute.
he has a nice smile. He's adorable. And he also has a single on the radio, which for some reason name escapes me right now. And I was able to like, oh, I know that song.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. Vance Joy, I don't know as much about except for Riptide. Steve, do you have any input?
No, well, my thing is, in both this and the previous tour, it was nice to have someone that I wasn't familiar with, especially an international person like Vance Joy, and then before that, Ed Sheeran, where it was a good way to get introduced to somebody that you may not have really been listening to at that time. So I think it was having Vance Joy was a great choice for this tour. So Shawn Mendes was good too. If anything, he had a little bit more memorable songs that are out there instead of like we had Austin Mahone there before. I mean, he had some stuff, but
I didn't see him. I can't
okay.
remember Austin.
I've got a confession.
Okay.
And it's kind of, well, it actually ties into a question we got on Twitter
Tied.
from Olivia. She asked how many shows did we go to? That depends. For my answer, that depends if you count Rock in Rio as a part of the tour or not, which it was the same set list, but it wasn't. I don't know.
I mean, that would depend on then if you counted London as part of the tour, because that was the same type of thing where she
Music
performed
festival.
in a festival.
Mhm.
Okay, well, now we're just
Yeah.
getting nitpicky and technical. So including Rock in Rio, I think I went to
We went to Rock in Rio. We went to
4.
Bossier,
I went to 4.
Chicago, and Tampa. So we went to 4. And Steve, how many did you go to?
2.
2.
2.
So I was at
All right.
Pittsburgh and then also at Tampa.
So my confession ties into that question. So the reason I was kind of analyzing it first, whether or not Rock in Rio counts, is because the openers weren't with her for that, since it was part of a music
Well,
festival.
Ed Sheeran played before her.
A Red
so it
Tour
was
opener
sort
was
of
with her
like
for that.
Right.
instead.
a mix
Yeah.
between the Red Tour and 1989.
Yeah, a little cross. But either way, so
Fun.
3 official shows that had openers. And it wasn't until Tampa, the very last show, that I ever actually went in to see the openers.
Well, I can say on that one, Adam, the line for Taylor Nation was so long in Pittsburgh that by the time I got in there, Vance Joy was doing like his very last song as I was walking down to my seat. So it was nice at Tampa I don't know maybe I was there earlier or something. It just seemed like I had more time to do things.
You didn't wait in line for Taylor Nation in
Yeah,
Tampa. That's
that was
why.
the
That might
difference.
have been the difference.
You didn't take the picture. We didn't take a picture in Tampa. That's unfortunate now that I'm thinking back on
I
it.
didn't wanna wait
It
in
didn't
the
occur to me until
line.
after the fact because it was so exciting that so many people we knew were there. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
in regards to your Pittsburgh question, Steve, that's why you don't wait in line. You just find someone that looks familiar and hey, how are you? And you
Right.
just sort of
Or
by
you make a
talking to
friend.
them, get yourself into line with them.
That's so rude.
That is a little rude, but in anything, being in the Taylor Nation line was great to meet new people because you'll have concert goers that they get to a concert, they're going to go and they sit in their seats right away, and that's the only thing that they do.
Mhm.
But there's the other ones that are aware, oh, Taylor Nation, they're in section blah blah blah, that they'll go over to see that kind of stuff and take part in the Xfinity pieces and that kind of stuff. So the people that are in the Taylor Nation line are ones that really kind of know what's going on. So that you really get to meet some cool people that way.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's cool. It's like I said, the Taylor Nation booth concept seemed, to use Diane's words, hokey. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Hokey at first. But the concept was so solid. It really became a great place to meet other people that were like-minded and things like that and get your picture taken.
And those pictures turned out really cool.
Yeah, they did, for sure.
They took a while to receive, but
Well, that's
they
because
were
there's
pretty
never
cool.
any cell service in the
No,
venues.
when I was in Chicago, it took us almost a week to get our picture. I was like, did it even
No,
go
it
through?
didn't.
Yes, it did. I promise you.
Mhm.
I will find you that text message. It was a week.
Whatever.
Hey, by the way, Adam, Augustine
sir.
says that you should not be teaching people to cut in line.
Did he say that?
Yes, he did.
Oh, and then
And he also asked you, Steve, if you went to Nashville. He thought you went to Nashville.
I did not go to Nashville this year.
Oh,
I've been to
Steve
the
usually
past.
goes to Nashville.
I like Nashville, and
then
really there was
Oh, go
some
ahead.
good performances there in Nashville, but next tour maybe.
Yeah, and then oh my goodness, where was it? Beth told me that the Shawn Mendes single that I was thinking of is called Stitches.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's on the radio.
Stitches, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And then Lou and Taylor are here from Australia. So hello to
Woo.
you.
Wow, you guys are up late.
Good day, mates.
What time is it there, Taylor?
It'd be like
and or Lou?
what, like 8?
Probably in the morning.
Yeah, like 8 in the morning.
Oh, you guys are up early.
Right.
I initially said they were up late. Haha, funny. Okay, so looking at Taylor's set list then. Here's the whole set list. Welcome to New York, New Romantics, Blank Space, I Knew You Were Trouble, her new version of it. I Wish You Would, How You Get the Girl, I Know Places. All you had to do was stay if there was no guest filling that spot. A special song of some sort, which turned out to be 15 more often than not.
Well, at the beginning, it was also Wonderland or You Are in Love.
Yeah, she did alternate those at the very
Yeah, at the
beginning,
very
and then
beginning.
it became a spot for 15 for some reason.
And
Then Clean, then the Love Story remix, then Style, This Love, Bad Blood, We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, Wildest Dreams mixed with Enchanted, Out of the Woods, and then finally Shake It Off. Rather than going through each one and being kind of redundant, like, yeah, I like that one. Oh yeah, that one was good
Mhm.
too. Which one of these did you guys find to be really special that you want to kind of point out? And chat
Before
about?
we even jump into that, Adam, there's one more thing I want to talk about, the bracelets specifically.
okay.
So with the bracelets, you put them on and you pulled your little tag out there to start the batteries and all that. The bracelet didn't do anything. If you'd go and, bump it or shake it around, it would light up and you're like, oh, that's kind of neat. But going into the show, you're thinking that may be all that bracelet does. And then finally, when Taylor comes out and into certain songs, all of a sudden that bracelet starts going crazy. And just to watch the people the first time the bracelets turned on was kind of a magical moment to see.
Yeah, definitely. That is cool.
This magic moment.
Don't
Steve-
sing too much. Yeah.
Steve gets it.
Yep.
Diane's like, what are these old guys talking about?
That's usually what I
Old songs.
Old music. So back to the set list then. Thanks to Steve's interruption, we're back
Sorry.
on the set list. What was special? What was the standout? What do you guys want to talk about?
Well, can I start talking about the first song? Welcome to New York.
To New
Yeah.
York.
I wanna
Point out how awkward
Point
it was
out-
that New York was not actually played.
Well, yeah,
Wasn't to stop.
yeah. I mean, that is slightly awkward. When
She
she's
she
like,
played that
"Welcome
song
to
in
New
every
York,"
city except New York.
and you're actually in Chicago. But anyway, Steve called it when this song came out because the intro is so long. It's like a perfect show opener.
Mhm.
You're talking about the actual musical
Yeah,
intro.
the actual music intro with like the clapping. And I think Steve said that like way when that song first came out. So it seems like when her next album comes out, we should be able to figure out what the first song will be based on the length of the intro.
Yeah, that's
'Cause that
possible.
seems to be a pattern, especially with the Red Show too.
Hmm. That's a good point. And if anything, we did really question if, Welcome to New York was going to make it there because it was very specific to New York, and you're thinking going to these other cities that wouldn't happen. But obviously, it turned out to be a great opener there. You had the signs up there saying the street names on it and everything else like that. It kind of gave you that sort of cool city feel to it at the very beginning.
It was intended. It's supposed to feel kind of urban and city like across the entire show. And we know the songs are, dare I say, sonically
That word again.
sonically cohesive.
Right.
So was the set list, or was the actual sets, were they visually cohesive?
I would have to say yes on that.
I would have to say yes, but to a possible detriment.
Okay.
Explain.
Because I think I'm trying to think right now. There was that bit when she was wearing the white tube top and the white shorts with the black boots, and I think she had that on for I Know Places. All you had to do was stay. The special song Clean and Love Story. When she wore the same outfit 5 times, and maybe I'm spoiled with like Taylor Swift costume changes, but I got kind of bored during those sets during that list because she was just wearing the same thing, and I was visually bored.
Fun trivia question, not for a t-shirt yet, but just because I thought of it. Do you know how many costume changes there were for Taylor throughout?
I can count real fast.
Count them. See if you can come up with
So
it.
she wore the same thing for Welcome to New York and New Romantics, and then blank space she had a jacket on, and then she took that off for I Knew You Were Trouble and I Wish You Would. How You Get the Girl, she had a pink dress on that lit up, and then I Know Places through Love Story was the same thing. Style and This Love, she had the sparkly dress on. Bad Blood, she had on like a leather pant tank top thing. Same with We Were Never Getting Back Together. Wildest Dream, she had a skirt on, and then she took the skirt off and wore in like a sparkly unitard, and then Shake It Off, she wore something else. So 10. Am I wrong?
Just so everyone knows, we don't have anything up on the screen. She actually did that from memory, and
Wow.
I'm rather shocked now taking off a jacket as one of them. I don't necessarily count that, so
And
the
taking
official
off a
answer is
skirt.
9.
But I got 10.
9 because you counted jacket. Take
And
a
skirt.
put a finger down.
And the skirt.
There were 9.
People
9.
on Twitter defend me.
That's considered a different outfit.
7 new tweets, and you're slacking on this whole
I was
like
counting.
monitoring she's slacking. What do we got?
Chloe24 says that she loves the I Knew You Were Trouble remix. Me too. Her vocals were amazing in that song. Let me just say, I don't remember which part she changed it. I think it was in the second verse, but when I first heard her do like a new tune to that or whatever, I was yeah.
I totally lost what I was gonna say.
You were talking about the costumes?
No, we were back on the music. Oh, yeah, you guys still haven't said which were the standout performances on the tour.
Well, I'll go ahead and talk again.
Good.
I liked, even though I'm not a huge fan of How You Get the Girl, that song just isn't one of my favorites. I liked how it looked visually. I thought the set was really cool because not only did she have rain, but she had the background of, I think it's the Brooklyn Bridge. And that was
Yep, that was
And
Brooklyn.
then she had the acrobats on the light poles that were amazing, and she had that pink dress that lit up, and to me that seemed like a scene out of the Speak Now tour, just almost like how like fantastical it was, or how much it looked like a set from a movie. That was my favorite visually.
Well, it's
movie do you
funny
think
you
it
say
looked like?
that, Diane,
Cinderella.
about it looking like a movie, because I took some notes during each song, or at least the ones that really stood out to me, and I do have some notes on how you get the girl. And the one thing was the rain and the Brooklyn Bridge, the lighted umbrellas that they had. Something with the Chrysler Building blinking stoplights on and off there in the background. What I actually thought movie wise though is there was like a little drum and bass part that actually sounded a little bit like the whole Singing in the Rain,
Yeah.
which is obviously, a classic song from, the golden age of Hollywood and such.
Sorry, Steve. We were distracted by Twitter because someone's trying to say Diane's right and Adam's wrong, but that's not.
That's
actually
true. That's very accurate.
Jacket is not a costume change.
But I came up to 10. You said that there were 9 costume changes. One of them was taking off a jacket.
No,
One of
I
them was
didn't count taking off the jacket.
off
So
the
10
skirt.
minus 1, 9.
Yeah, but
Math.
one of them was taking off a skirt. How is that different than taking off a jacket? You're still removing a piece of clothing.
Taking off a skirt is like,
So was taking off a jacket.
no, wrong. Diane's wrong. From the very beginning, and remains to be, we are never getting back together. How she turned it into a total rock version, and that was really, really cool and really special to me. And I thought that was much better than even the original version. And I think it even took it a step above a lot of the songs on 1989, which as a general rule tend to be a bit superior to some of her earlier music as well. So that was the standout performance.
What did you guys think of the golf club like pole tap during Blank Space? When she would say that she was going to do some sort of experiment, which she did every single show. Where
Not
she
much
would,
of an experiment by the end, Taylor.
tap the pole and then go Chi-Town or Tampa. Vegas,
Okay, let's
Vegas.
actually talk about that for a sec, because here's a funny
Okay.
story. So when we were at Rock in Rio, which was with the exception of the Tokyo shows, the first stop in the US. So those videos that play between songs where she has some of her friends talking about their relationship with her and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
At Bossier City, there was some glitch, Bossier City, Rock in Rio, getting all my tour stops confused. There was some sort of glitch where the audio and video were off. So like, for example, you have, her friend Cara, whose last name I can't pronounce.
Delavine?
She'd be on the screen, but you would hear someone else's voice speaking because they were like significantly off from one another, the audio and video. And so then when she said something about Vegas and it kept repeating, Vegas, it was funny. I was there actually with Diane and my mom, and I turned to them and I'm like, oh man, I'm like, between the video and this now, I'm like, someone's getting fired tonight.
We thought it was a like technical mistake that it was being repeated, and it was on purpose. So it's just kind of funny. I think it was a nice touch just to, it was definitely her way of making each show different, but I think the fact that she had to try to like fit a word into the song made it awkward at some shows where it just sort of didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, but it was kind of neat in a way though, like, because it wasn't just the name of the city that was getting repeated. The clang was getting repeated. Really, if anything, it reminded me and probably got some of her influence from Ed Sheeran using a loop pedal to be able to, repeat parts of different things and put it all together at the same time. So it was neat to see that being built first with the clang, then with the city name. And then there's a couple other things she did there. And actually that's another part of the beginning of Blank Space. She actually starts with the repeat of Boys Only Want Love Because It's Torture, which it was actually kind of an interesting way to even start the song, is to hear that playing rather than actually just starting the song normally as you would, listen to it on the album.
Mhm.
So
Speaking of boys, all her dancers this tour were men, and someone from Beth from Twitter wanted us to talk about that.
Well, why don't we kind of reserve that for a sec? Because we
Okay.
were going to talk about some of the differences between past tours
Okay.
and this current one.
Okay.
So let's kind of hold off on that for a sec. But
Okay.
at least we gave credit to Beth on Twitter. So everybody knows that was who suggested we speak about that, because we definitely will in just a few moments. I just want to know if you guys have anything else to say about the songs before we kind of get into some of that stuff.
I mean, there's all
'Cause we went
sorts.
through.
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
Well, it's just like every song has little interesting little tidbits to it that, like Bad Blood, for instance, the microphone that she has there kind of reminds me of like Brass Knuckles or something like that when, people would be fighting or something. So that was kind of a real subtle little thing, but I thought it was
Mhm.
kind of neat. There's just a whole bunch of little crazy stuff there that you almost have to, and that's why I'm glad that I had the opportunity to see the show twice, because Pittsburgh was the first show I got to see, and everything is new at that time, and you don't know what to look for, all the little subtle things. So when I was in Tampa, that was what was nice, is I knew roughly what was going to happen, but then you just see those little details that you can see Taylor puts into the stuff that a lot of people aren't going to notice, but it really gives an extra element to it.
Mhm.
Speaking of which, anybody listening, tweet us with that hashtag Taylor Talk Live if you noticed something very small that you don't think anyone else, or at least you think the general audience, didn't notice. Because I'm really curious, because I'm sure there are things that we did not see. No comments from you guys?
I'm trying to think if there was something subtle that I saw, but I don't know.
I don't know, but either way, as far as the set list goes, the reason I want to move into some other things is because if you guys kind of rewind the clock a little bit, episode 184, so taylortalk.org/episode 184 is where you can see that. That was our initial review of the tour, and that has that perspective put on that discussion where we, that sort of initial perspective, our first thoughts. We go through song by song, things of that sort. That's kind of why we're not repeating it again and rather talking about some things that are different. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I said we're moving on from the set list, and I was about to talk about the set list again, but something different. The songs that were cut, all you had to do was Stay and This Love. She started with those, presumably based upon the fact that her fans wanted the entire 1989 album as part of the tour, but then she cut them. Why?
I think all you had to do was Stay was cut because it was during that part in the show where she would have special guests. So I guess she cut that song to allow time for the guests to perform. And then the same thing with This Love. On certain shows, she also had a guest in that spot. But I don't remember, and I wish we had someone here who knew like what she performed at each show, but I feel like there were some shows where she cut This Love and didn't put anything in its place. It was just gone.
Well, This Love, didn't she alternate that with Wonderland at
No,
the beginning?
this you're thinking of You Are in
Oh,
Love.
yeah. Sorry.
And sometimes it's not as much of a mystery as we think it is. Certain venues also have different, curfew hours, or, based on if the folks are, working until a certain hour, or whatever they're getting paid for, that they may have to, shorten it just a little bit. Whereas other shows that are allowed to go longer can. So it could be something like that.
Yeah, for her show last night in Singapore, This Love was added back onto the set list. I'm gonna credit Swifty13 on Twitter for telling us that.
Telling us what?
That This Love was added back onto the set list in Singapore.
Oh, okay. Which, speaking of that, I think there is a Singapore show starting like right after we're done with this.
Is that the second one? I thought there was one yesterday, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Okay.
there's one starting very soon after we're done with this. Obviously, it is tomorrow there. I think it's already Sunday.
This time change is so confusing.
It is. I don't know.
I don't know
time zones.
if I should say last night or today because it's
We'll just consider ourselves the opening act for Taylor in Singapore,
There you go.
from all the way in the U.S. Right? As far as certain songs being cut, though, I think that Taylor is she makes her decisions strategically, right? And I'm willing to bet that she just didn't get the response from those that she did from the other songs.
And
Mhm.
how does she know? Where does she get her statistics from? Because I saw a lot of people on Twitter upset that she cut All You Had to Do Was Stay.
Yeah,
I
but when you're
wasn't one of
talking
the
a
people who was
lot, you
complaining.
have to think of, here we go with numbers again. You got to
Uh,
think of numbers in the right context. When you're saying a lot, you saw 5 people, 10 people in your circle of friends complaining about that.
Yes.
Taylor's playing for audiences of 50 to 60,000.
Yeah, but how does she know?
I'm willing to bet she has people all around the venue monitoring audience engagement during every single moment.
So if people are texting during a song, then she's like, I gotta cut this.
I'm gonna leave these names anonymous, but I have a friend of mine who her dad used to perform here on the Strip in Vegas, and she worked as an usher. And I actually didn't know that at the time until I went to her dad's show and saw her there, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, you get to work at your dad's show, right? And she was telling me what she actually does is she worked in conjunction with her dad. She was actually out among the audience. So during his various acts throughout the show, she was observing the audience and seeing what they liked, what they didn't like, take it back to him, and he was able to adjust his show accordingly.
So then in the of you're being watched and that your reactions are being watched.
I think that goes
if
for
you really
any live
hate
show.
a song, throw a fit and it could be cut from the set list.
Yeah. So don't ever throw a fit during We Are Never Ever Gonna Go Back Together.
Nobody would do that. We've gotten a couple people on the Twitter talk about how much they loved her rock version of We Are Never Ever Gonna Go Back Together.
Yeah.
And actually, I did take a couple of notes on that one. Not much, but because they were all like dressed in like all the leather jackets and everything else like that. It was reminiscent, I think, of Joan Jett is what she was going for there. Given that
Okay.
strong women sort of kind of a pop punk sort of deal there. And also it was kind of weird because there was that sound that would be played throughout that song too. Almost like
Yeah.
from what was it, Cher Lord there. What's her song? Want You Back.
Yeah, but I guess that sound was just added for attitude. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like Adam just demonstrated.
But that's what I thought of when I saw it though.
Mhm.
Steve, was that with an indie record that is much cooler than yours?
Ah!
It's better when you say the actual lyric. So do it
Much
again.
cooler than mine.
Wow.
It's Adam's
that
favorite
was my
part of the
favorite
show.
part. No joke. I kid you not. I like to take video at concerts. Speaking of video, here's a fun fact for everybody. So remember on the last episode, the pre-recorded one, when we're like, hey, watch us live at youtube.com/TaylorTalk13.
Oh yeah.
Our official YouTube channel there. Remember that? But now we're here at a new location, taylortalk.org/live, which redirects you to a brand new YouTube account called Taylor Talk Live. So you guys know how throughout this tour, it's been very difficult to watch videos because they kept getting taken down. Well, guess what happened to our YouTube channel?
It got taken down.
No, the YouTube channel didn't get taken down, but some of the videos that we have shot at live shows have been taken down, and as a result of those copyright violations, YouTube won't let us broadcast live anymore.
We got in trouble.
Yeah, we got in trouble, but we're rebel anyway.
Just
on
make a
different
new
YouTube
account. You can do whatever you want.
channel. Yeah, so that happened. Now I totally forgot where I was going with that story, but Oh, to take videos. So I like to take videos at the concert and things. And for those who don't know, Diana and I, we actually road tripped to Bossier City, Louisiana. That
With
was a
our
long trip.
dog.
With the pup. And that on the way back, I was on my laptop and I was transferring some of the videos and photos and things from my camera to the computer. And I was driving. It was crazy because I kept putting that part that with some indie record that's much cooler than mine where she screams. I kept repeating that over and over on the video. I just kept playing that one piece, kept rewinding it and playing it on repeat. And she was trying to drive and it was really fun. I was having fun. I don't think she was.
I don't actually remember that.
Oh, you must have blocked it out. It must have
Probably.
traumatized you that much. You blocked it from memory. So that's kind of my story with that. I wish I could share it with everybody, but sadly I can't put it on YouTube because if the Taylor Talk YouTube channel gets one more violation, guess what happens then?
Then we're really gone.
Then we're gone forever and ever and ever. Then YouTube and Taylor Talk are never ever getting back together. Wah, wah, wah. Bad joke. Okay. So, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to compare the tours, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of want to jump to that because, well, I want to jump to that. I have been fortunate. I've been to 3 out of the 4 tours that Taylor has been or has put on. I never saw Fearless. Steve, I don't think you have.
I have not. No.
You didn't see Fearless?
Nope.
But Diane did.
I
So
have, yeah.
you're the only one that can speak to that. But so how do these tours all compare? What do you guys think? Choice, Clever Chloe 24. We're fighting now. We're fighting.
She tweeted, "Diane is awesome. Thank you for saying that." And Adam's ego is bruised. His ego is not big enough for the screen that it's currently in.
Wow.
I hate you all.
Adam is not a fan.
Adam is not impressed.
No. Now, what were we talking? Oh, we were comparing tours.
Yes.
Compare the tours, guys. Well, I guess it's probably easiest to start. Which was your favorite tour?
Speak now.
Steve?
I don't know. I hate to say it. I don't know.
Steve, answer. There are no yes no things. It's one or the other. Look at Steve. He's so professional. I feel like you're on a talk show right now. You have your glass of water off to the side.
Right. I should
like,
have like a coffee cup or something.
We
like
never actually
show.
drink those.
You have this great background behind you with all this Taylor Swift stuff, and I just found an angle that showcased the one Taylor Swift poster I have up.
The Taylor Swift poster you have up?
The only problem, Adam, it looks like her leg is coming out of your ear. There we go. That's better. That's better.
There she is. That poster, of course, being from the Red Tour. But I would say my favorite tour was also Speak Now. I could have kind of a slight bias towards Speak Now because that was the first time I ever saw her live in any capacity, whether it be because to this point I've seen her at award shows here in Vegas, Rock in Rio, music festival, concerts, all kinds of stuff like that. But that was the first time I ever saw her live, and it's not like she puts on a concert that is not like any other concert you go to, right? Like at other concerts. Now, I don't have a whole lot of artists as a basis for comparison, but one of the concerts I went to, and this particular individual can get away with it, but I saw Paul McCartney in concert. Now, he can get away with doing this, but all he did pretty much was just stood in the middle with a microphone and had his guitar or his bass guitar, whichever he happened to be playing.
That's because Paul McCartney's presence is the show.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying he can get away with it. However, I find that a lot of other concerts kind of tend to do that also. Taylor goes above and beyond to create not just a concert, but an entire spectacle.
Experience, yeah.
Yeah, an experience. That's a good choice of words. It's like an entire experience. I haven't done a giveaway yet, have I?
That'd be a good idea.
Why don't we do that? Okay. First giveaway. to win one of these
Taylor Talk t-shirt.
Taylor Talk t-shirt. Just to, I guess, preface this before everyone starts competing, I only have smalls and mediums. So if you are like me, I hate to say it, but this contest isn't quite for you.
No, what you could do though is you could take the Taylor Talk t-shirt that is sent to you, even if it's not in your size, you can cut it up and put it on a pillow,
I'll make a
or
pillowcase.
put it on your wall, or
Or
use it
oh
as
wait,
a
I have
dish
one. I have
rag,
one. I have one.
or dust.
No,
with it.
no, no, no. It is not a dish rag.
Dust
Dish,
with it.
dish rag or a dust mop. No, 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 no.
Clean up your dog's pee with it.
Yeah.
Diana's mean.
I'm just joking.
These are cool designs.
I know. I'm just joking.
So,
I love that.
to win a t-shirt, right? Here's what they can do. If they are a big person, they don't fit in mediums, they can ask for a medium anyway. Cut the sleeves off and make it a muscle shirt.
Is that what you're gonna do with it?
Yeah. Well, I have a large. I got my large before the large is sold out.
Hmm.
All right, shall we get to a trivia question then?
Go for
Here
it.
is how it is going to work. I'm going to ask a question. You are going to tweet a response using the hashtag TaylorTalkLive.
We give it to the first person. Who
And the
gets it,
first
right?
person who gets it correct will win.
We have to
t-shirt.
preface this. Will we send it anywhere?
We did last time.
Yeah.
Do we
I
want to send it internationally?
I think we can handle sending one t-shirt internationally. It's not like we're sending them a box.
But
of
we have
t-shirts.
3 giveaways.
I think we should do it because that's not fair to just qualify someone if they live in Hong Kong or something. It's not
Okay.
fair.
No matter where in the world you live, you have the chance to answer this question and win a Taylor Talk t-shirt. Because Diane will be paying the shipping.
Yay.
For those listening to audio only, her face just completely transformed when I said that.
Meh.
All right, so first question. Name the date and location of the very first and very last 1989 World Tour concerts. So again, the date and location of the very first and the very last 1989 World Tour.
Now, keep in
concerts.
mind the last 1989 World Tour concert has not happened yet. So we assume this will be the last show, but due to unforeseen circumstances, it may not be. But as of now, it's the last show. Right?
Sure. It's the current music like a do 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 do.
Well, there's also a minute delay. So by the time we ask this question, because the question was just asked, but they're not going to know until a minute later.
All right, so let's keep talking. A few people on Twitter here have responded. World of Taylor said her favorite tour was the Red Tour.
Pierce said that her favorite tour was the 1989 tour. And then Chris L says that it has to be Speak Now.
Yeah.
Because it was their first time seeing Taylor in concert. and
Vote
she
for
was
Speak
blown
Now for the
away.
same reason as me. It was her first concert. Someone else down there below answered too. Beth said Speak Now or Red Tour. I am finding a curious trend here.
What's your trend that you're finding?
That people are naming tours other than 1989 as their favorite, and I'm
Well,
wondering
not
why.
Pierce. I think it's the nostalgia factor. Like you want what you haven't seen in a while, or you want
what you
can't see.
want.
Mhm.
Boys and girls.
Yes.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a nostalgic factor to it, but then there's a nostalgic factor to the Red Tour also, and people are kind of primarily leaning towards Speak Now, it seems.
I think that's the way it was with me because I feel like Speak Now was when Taylor really launched into popularity, a lot more than Fearless, because that was when you became a fan, and that was the first time that I had seen her show twice, and for me that was just a magical experience. So I think maybe it was just the time in our lives of a Taylor fan, I guess, that makes it special. Because I think if she were to come out with a show that was magical like Speak Now was now, I think it would be awkward in some way. Like she's already done that. She doesn't need to bring out the fairy tale Princess.
You know
Again.
what though? Here's something I thought of that I'm kind of wondering. Do we have answers on that?
We've got so
Wait,
this
hang
one
on.
has this
Hang on.
person.
Let's see if it's who's got
This
the
person
right
has
answer
it
first.
wrong. This one, Swifty 13 in Roman numerals. Is that right?
I would imagine it would be 13. What other number would it
No,
be?
no, I mean, is this the correct answer?
Oh, wait. Let's find out. Check the answer key.
That's right.
Yay! So the first one was May 5th in Tokyo, Japan, and last one will be December 12th in Melbourne, Australia.
Yes, some person got the first part right, but then they said that the last show was Tampa. Nope, the show's still going.
Show
overseas.
keeps moving along. Okay. So,
I will save that.
did
one
you
for
save
you.
it, favorite it? We will shoot you a DM later with some directions so you can reach out to us, share an address, a mailing address. That way we can ship your shirt off, get your correct size that you would like sent to you and all that stuff. So just hang tight on that. But who was that? Swifty13 is
Yes,
the winner on
I'm
that
saving
first
it right now.
trivia giveaway. Don't worry, there are two more to come.
Ooh.
All right. So here's what I was thinking with regards to the shows in comparison to one another and why people are leaning towards some of the older ones. Um, Obviously, the people who are on our panel right now, as well as people listening, tend to be fans that have been around for a little bit. Not all, that's not the general rule. Sorry. But tend to be fans who've been around for a while and have experienced multiple tours and things of that sort and been around for the evolution of Taylor. Now, Diane, you were mentioning Speak Now was kind of on her rise to this massive, like
Yeah.
popular stardom, like beyond the country community and things like that, and really branching out. So I wonder if one of the differences was, as we noted earlier with some of those numbers and statistics, we have a tour now that is hitting all these massive stadiums and amounting to an equivalent of 250 arena shows worth of people, right?
Mhm.
Hmm.
So I wonder if the scale has something to do with it because the level of intimacy and the relationship Taylor has with the audience in a smaller venue is different than the relationship she has with the audience in one of those 60,000 person stadiums.
Yeah, I think that was one of my critiques of this tour. Just the intimacy factor I feel like wasn't there, at least for me. I don't know if people felt differently, but I really liked it in previous tours when she walked through the crowd to get to the
B stage?
yeah,
Yeah.
and then during the red tour she was carried. I really liked that. And she didn't do that this time. She had this giant catwalk that would raise up and spin. And I feel like in her effort to make all seats a good seat, she made none of the seats a good seat.
I wouldn't go so
Yeah.
far as to say that none of the seats were a good seat.
I feel like it was hard.
I would say that at any given, not at any given, or sorry, yeah, at any given point,
Your seat
someone's
was
seat
bad.
was good and someone's seat was bad, and that changed depending on what she was doing.
Yeah.
So she gave everybody a good seat and everybody a bad seat at some point in the show. That just happened to vary depending on where you were. Because, for example, at Rock in Rio, we were standing where the equivalent of the main stage pit was on her regular shows, and when she was out on the catwalk, we were staring at her back the entire time, or staring at a stage that had nothing on it. Those were the two options. So I thought that was kind of it made what would be very expensive seats on the tour kind of crummy at several parts of the show.
We were also farther to the right of the pit, like toward the end of the stage. And so she didn't ever walk over there. So it was bad.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's something good to point out. I didn't even think about that until you just mentioned it, the fact that she doesn't go through the crowd anymore.
Hmm.
And I think that added something very special. You know, when you go back and look at old pictures, for example, of the point where either she's being carried through the crowd on Red or she's walking through on Speak Now, look at the faces of the people around her.
Yeah, it's so exciting because for some people who didn't know that she was going to do that, it's amazing. And I remember on Speak Now, even though I was not in a place that she could walk by, it was still really cool to see her do that, and it was still special, even though she wasn't close to me.
On Speak Now, she walked by me and I got to pat her on the back.
Did you
before
even
before I
notice?
got before I got a massive sweaty buff arm in my face by a security guard.
Yeah, you can't touch Taylor Swift.
Can't touch this. Da, na, na, na.
But don't you think some of that is just because of security concerns? Is Taylor being as big of a star as she is now?
I
You know,
think
even in
so.
Speak Now, she wasn't as big of a star, but we've seen on previous tours and, you know, people try to go to her houses and everything else like that. It just, that kind of stuff is what I think they went for, the simplest way to get people that were maybe not up close in the front to be able to get a good chance to see Taylor. Plus, I think it's kind of funny because a lot of times when they use the catwalk is when she would start a lot of her little monologues. So it was
Yeah.
almost like she was on her little soapbox talking down to you
Oh,
about everything. And, you know, it really kind of made it that seemed to mean more when she would talk then.
yeah, that's true. It drew more attention to the fact that she was talking.
Yeah, I think you're right, Steve. In that, as part of her evolution, her security has had to change, um, and that's probably why things have changed as they had.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't excuse the fact that they have in fact changed, and it does in fact make the experience a little bit less intimate.
If you've
However,
experienced those previous tours, you know, I think that's part of it, is the people that have seen the previous tours may lean towards the older tours, one for nostalgia and two for, you know, because I think actually, but Fearless, was she not actually walking through most of the stadium and that kind of stuff? Like, she'd
What
appear in
happened was
sections and that?
she appeared in a section and started singing "Hey Steven," and it was, I think it was usually like section 13 of the arena, and then she would walk down the stairs and then walk to the B stage, and then from the B stage she'd walk back to the main stage.
Mm-hmm. So you
Which
you
made
would,
me know.
so it even was more intimate back in the, you know, Fearless days, even more than Speak Now, and it just slowly has changed, and that's kind of how it is.
so we've
Mhm.
slowly lost some of the intimacy, but I think one of the things that is very commendable that we have to talk about, since we are primarily revolving around 1989 in this discussion, is the fact that she still has maintained intimacy with her audience. She still gives her speeches, and her advice, and she's become so widely quoted now for her advice and her, what's the one about, like, you are not someone else's idea of
Your opinion of,
what is it?
like, you are not someone else's opinion of you.
Yeah, like that one.
Her clean
Um,
speech.
and so I think she has maintained a level of intimacy and closeness because every bit of advice she gives up there, while she can't be among the audience like she used to be, every piece of advice and everything she says, her audience takes to heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And speaking of things that the audience pays attention to, we have a listener, Clever Chloe 24, who called you out, Adam.
Called me out.
She listened to an old episode and was like, "I thought you got a hug, Adam. Listen to old episodes. I swear, I thought you got a hug."
Oh, Clever Chloe, you are so clever. Let's talk about that. Speak Now was the most interesting and bizarre experience for me, because it how I ended up at Speak Now varied. Now, going into the tour,
Is this really necessary to talk about how you got a hug?
kind of.
Okay. This is a lot of backstory.
Okay, so going into the tour, I did not actually believe I would ever see the Speak Now World Tour because I live in Las Vegas and there was no show in Las Vegas. Through a series of random happenings and circumstances, I ended up at 3 different Speak Now shows. One was in Cleveland, Ohio, one was in Los Angeles, California, and one was the final one where I actually met Steve for the very first time. That was at the final
Aw.
show at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Now, because Clever Chloe is so clever and remembers all these old episodes, these two experiences were 2 different shows. So in Los Angeles is when she walked by and the pat on the back thing happened. in New York City at Madison Square Garden is where the hug happened.
But you made it sound like that you only got to touch her back in an awkward way during the Speak Now
No,
tour.
it wasn't awkward because people, they reach their hand out and she touches hands and she does that. All I did, it was an accident. I reached my hand out and she missed me. She skipped me.
It was an accident. Accidentally on purpose touched her back.
There you go. That's my favorite part still is the fact that Adam and I were both at that Cleveland show, but yet did not know each other at that point in time.
Yeah, same with the LA show. I was there too, and I didn't know him either.
To take the LA one a step further, my own cousin, who I've known since the day I was born, was at the LA show, and I didn't know she was there. So
she just didn't care to tell you.
Or she didn't know I would be there.
Or
I didn't know she would be there. Therefore, we did not communicate to one another that we would be there. Where were we in this discussion even? We got so sidetracked.
I think we were comparing the different tours and such. That's kind of where we're still at.
Can we talk about the male dancers now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, since we're talking about those, who suggested it earlier so we can give them a shout out again?
I know it was Kirsty Rose, and then
I thought Beth said something.
Beth did too, but I remember, I think it's Kirsty or Christy. I don't remember.
Okay, either way, a couple people suggested that. Now, let's talk about it because there was an all-male dance crew on this one, where in previous tours she had female dancers as well.
And during I Knew You Were Trouble, they were shirtless and sweaty, which was different and fun.
That was a very risque performance. By Taylor standards, anyway. By the Las Vegas Strip standards, it was tame. But
well, it was normal. Yeah. It was interesting that she chose to do that because I wonder if she only had male dancers for that performance specifically, because there wasn't a lot of female presence. Why are you making faces? Okay, there wasn't a lot of female presence on stage besides Taylor. But during this Love, she did have her backup singers come out and sing that with her, but then it was cut, so that wasn't seen at a lot of shows. And Adam is using Google effects to make pirate hats.
I am now wearing a pirate hat.
I see that.
A pirate's life is a life for thee.
That's what he thinks about.
We're talking about the all-guy dancers. Guys are mean and scary like pirates.
Okay.
Arg, mateys.
Okay.
Ye be talking about the male dancers versus the female dancers on tour. Hang on, let me get rid of this hat. Okay. So I feel like it really changed the performances, though, having the males versus males and females. It gave this tour, which this might have been intentional, it gave it a much more aggressive and tough sort of image, where in past tours she had like ballet and things that were a bit more graceful and I guess beautiful rather than cool.
Mm-hmm.
So are you saying men can't be beautiful and women can't be cool?
I did not say that.
I think that's what he's implying, yes.
I did not say that.
I know a lot of beautiful men.
I didn't say that because the ballet happened with both men and women.
When they were shirtless, they were beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That was still beautiful. I don't know. I can't come up with an analytical reason about the male dancers other than there were male dancers this time.
Well, what about the fact, what did you guys think? Speaking of the lower level of intimacy on this tour, what did you guys think about the fact that the dancers were totally brought to the forefront and her band, who's been with her a long time, pushed back, when for the most part, a lot of these guys were new. Almost all of them were brand new.
I think
no loyalty level with these guys yet. There was no loyalty built up. They were brand new.
Well, didn't Paul have a guitar solo?
Yeah, but with the lights off and you couldn't even see his face.
I knew it was him.
Of course you knew it was him because you knew.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's just when Taylor changed genres from country to pop, she also wanted her tour to look differently too. And in a lot of pop tours, you don't really see the band, and the focus is instead on the singer and the dancers.
I think you're right, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I was just trying to get your opinions on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it goes back to what we've talked about in past episodes about when she has had her little debate with 1989, where her label is like, hey, for Shake It Off, can we throw in some steel guitar and things like that and add a little countryness to it to put it on country radio
Yeah.
also? And she's like, no, we have to, we're at a fork in the road. We have to go one way or the other. We can't do both. And I think that's part of what it was, is if she was going to go into this new genre and attract a new audience and also make her old audience happy and do that whole thing, she had to go one way or the other. She couldn't go two ways at once.
Was her band even on stage for a lot of it, or were they off stage? Now that I think about it, I don't remember.
Well, even if they were on stage, you wouldn't have noticed.
Right. That was not what the focal point of it was. I mean, a lot of it has to do with the new layout of the stage, having the catwalk, for instance. I mean, that was really the focal point of the entire show, was things that were going on the catwalk and everything like that. So, previously she had those kind of T-shaped stages, which
Right.
that created a totally different feel on how it is now with having the catwalk. So
You're right, because with the T-shaped, then there was space at the end of the catwalk for more people to stand. And when
right.
she just had the line, there was only room for her.
Yeah, that catwalk was pretty darn narrow overall. It
Yeah.
wasn't all that wide.
Well, speaking of the catwalk, that kind of brings me to trivia question number 2 and t-shirt giveaway
Ooh.
number 2, because it was related to the catwalk. So again, I'm flashing the t-shirt for you guys. This is what it looks like. If you want one of these t-shirts, be the first one to answer this question correctly. Now, this one we might have to wait for someone to research, because if someone knows this off the top of their head, I will be very impressed.
I don't know this one.
How much does the 1989 World Tour catwalk weigh?
Is a lot an acceptable answer?
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about the number of pounds. See if anybody knows that question.
So it has to be in pounds.
What if it's in
not-
kilograms?
I can't do the conversion, so pounds. Yeah. Okay. So back to the catwalk talk. So yeah, it was narrow, so less people could be on it, but she still, well, it depends on your perspective. It was either very narrow or it was very wide, because the whole thing rotated. That was the whole point of the catwalk, is that it could rotate. So it would end up very wide also.
Did Dominic's Nico said that because the band is to back her up and the dancers are to entertain the audience. So that was this person's take on the reason that the dancers were moved toward the more forefront. But I guess you could argue too, if you wanted to, that the band is also there to entertain the audience.
Yeah, kind of. Particularly guitar players really get into their guitar playing, and there's an element of dancing involved with that, I think. Oh, we got our first attempted answer from Evan. That's not correct, buddy.
I wasn't going to call him out, but you did.
Oh, Evan's a long-time listener. I'm just teasing.
Evan, that's too heavy. That's way too much. That would be overwhelmingly large to lift. I don't even know if that would be possible.
It's broken up into parts. I mean, I can give you a hint and say each slab was 100 pounds.
How many slabs were there, though?
Well, it's not just the slabs that factor into the total weight, Steve. You have the whole mechanical element of it too, everything below. I'm just talking about the actual slabs that they walked on.
We have our winner. It is
wait. Somebody said 1989 pounds?
No, this one's right. This one.
I know 1989 pounds is not right.
This one.
Yes, I know that one. World to Taylor got it. The answer is
Woohoo!
40,000 pounds.
What's
Wow.
Very, very heavy. It was 40,000 pounds.
I am saving that now, so we will send you your t-shirt.
Yes. So again, we'll reach out to you with the directions to receive your new t-shirt.
A couple other people got it right. Sailor Trips got it right. You were just, unfortunately, a minute too slow.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Sorry.
But there's
Alrighty.
still one more giveaway.
Yes,
There's still
one more
one
left.
more. But wait, there's more. Okay, so let's talk special guests, because I feel like this is running very long.
Yeah, we should probably, because we've been recording for over an hour now. So
Let's keep going. Okay, so special guests. This was the tour of special guests. She obviously had special guests on the past tours. but not to the extent she did on this one. So, starting it off, who was your favorite special guest?
Sam Hunt.
Shows that we actually went to?
I didn't
No,
go to that
overall.
show. Sam
okay.
Hunt. And Nick Jonas. And Fifth Harmony. Who else? Who else was cool?
Well, this is actually where, remember how I was like, hey, we're going to give a special shout out to Augustin later in the episode. On his site, theswiftagency.com, he has all the special guests and surprise guests and secret songs compiled into an easily read list. So,
And Adam, I will take that one step further. So I used his website there to get all the information, and I put it together in a Spotify playlist. So we'll put that in the show notes there.
yeah, if we knew what episode we were on, we could.
No, actually, it's 196.
196.
Oh, I thought it was.
You were one to. That's the next one. Is 197. So
all right. So
close
if you
that.
want a playlist of all of Taylor's special guests from the entire tour, visit taylortalk.org/episode 189. That will be after this episode is published. So on Monday, starting Monday. What's the date? Monday. The 9th?
The 9th, yes.
So Monday, November 9th, starting then, you can go to taylortalk.org/episode 196. And Steve has created a playlist that you can listen to on Spotify of all of the special guests from the 1989 World Tour. So that's kind of cool, Steve. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. And we can probably tweet it out too before then. So if people want to start.
Oh, yeah, we can do that too. So if you're following us on Twitter at TaylorTalk13, you'll get it a little bit sooner also. Steve's on it.
Yay.
So special guest then. You know, one of my favorite special guests, which I think people tend to forget about because it was all the way at the beginning, was Ed Sheeran coming out at Rock in Rio.
Mm-hmm.
They sang Tenerife together.
Tenerife.
What?
It's called Tenerife.
Isn't that what I said?
No, you pronounce the F. You just stop pronouncing letters eventually in that word.
Well, why are the letters there then?
I don't know. Don't speak French. But I think it's French.
But it was really cool seeing Ed and Taylor together again, and I really thought that he was going to come out as a special guest on one of the actual proper tour shows, and he never did because they've got that whole BFF thing going, and we haven't seen a lot of them together lately, which is kind of weird. But I thought he was going to come back out at some point because at Rock in Rio it was kind of a given because he played before she did. So he was actually part of that music festival.
There,
he had his own act and was already there.
And it was also their friendiversary.
Oh, their friendiversary. That makes it.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It is a thing.
Okay.
They said it was a thing, and it was their. I don't remember how many years they had been friends. I think maybe 3 years or something like that. Maybe
So,
2.
I mean, who else? It was really cool when Kelsey Ballerini came out.
A lot of people are saying that on the Twitter. Jack the Swiftie said the best special guest has to be Lisa Kudrow.
Oh, Smelly Cat. Yes.
A lot of people liked Fifth Harmony. Evan liked seeing Idina Menzel.
Oh, we were going to get to
Frozen.
That one. That was going to be my final one because that was, yeah. We'll talk about that in a sec.
What about, Mick Jagger, if you want to go back with some classics?
Mick Jagger has such a huge name, but I am not familiar with his music.
Really?
You know Satisfaction.
Everyone I did know Satisfaction, but I mean, he just doesn't.
He doesn't do it for you.
I mean, there were a couple throwbacks of different eras and everything else like that. You could tell that Taylor involved the people that she really wanted to, perform with, and probably hasn't performed with in the past too much, though. Too, had a lot. Like Alanis Morissette, that was a classic there too.
I really liked how it seemed like she pulled out a lot of newer artists and a lot of people who had songs that were popular on the radio.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot more of that going on this tour, especially even for the last show for us there in Tampa there with Alicia Cara. She's coming out with an album, and it was kind of like Taylor's chance to say, hey, that's how she almost introduced her, was saying, hey, she has an album coming out November 13th. Make sure you go get it and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I got the pre-order that came with half the song. She's really good.
She is really good. And you know, that's one thing. We're probably going to start hearing her name a lot more. So it was some of the people, you know, they had a couple single songs out there on the radio and that, or, you know, one huge hit, but it was nice to see them out there. So maybe they can continue to have success in years to come.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. Who else did you guys like?
I got to look at my list.
I have a moment that was very special to me.
Okay, good.
That I wasn't there for. In Los Angeles, when Kobe Bryant came out,
Oh yeah.
that was the best moment of the entire tour. That was so cool.
Adam was so upset he wasn't there.
I was really mad I wasn't there. I was so mad I wasn't there.
She also had Selena, Justin Timberlake, John Legend came out and sang All of Me, which, fun fact, I don't remember where I read this because I read a lot of stuff about Taylor, but supposedly they didn't rehearse that. She just found out that he was there, and she's like, well, do you want to perform with me? So that was why he pretty much sang the whole song, because they hadn't rehearsed it. So she's just doing backup.
Well, speaking of that, I think that happened more often than you would think with certain people, because she obviously, in addition to having guest artists come on and sing songs, she also obviously had people walking during Style, right?
Didn't that happened with Julia Roberts?
Julia Roberts was another one that she was there with her kids to see the show, and Taylor found out about it, of course, and is like, hey, do you want to do this? And she was like, I'm not even dressed up.
Yeah,
I have
like
no
she was
makeup.
wearing jeans and she had her hair all casual, and her kids were like, Mom, you have to.
You have to do it. So they thought that was really cool. And of course she went out and walked. But as far as the people who sang with Taylor, though, I'm going to go with Evan on this and say the absolute 100% best one on the tour was when Idina Menzel came out and sang Let It Go with Taylor.
It was so good.
Mind you, dressed as Elsa.
It was so beautiful.
Dressed as Elsa while Taylor was dressed as Olaf, and it was Halloween, and it was just everything about it was so perfect. And the thing about it too is, this is the part that just blew my mind away, right? Is Idina Menzel has one of the biggest and most powerful voices on Broadway, right? She's very, very famous for that. During the performance, I was like, wow, Taylor's keeping up. Then, because I like taking my videos, I went back, watched the video, and I would argue that Taylor actually outperformed Idina Menzel vocally.
There's some big words.
But I'll give you one major thing. How many times does she perform to 55,000 people?
Exactly.
When you're doing Broadway, you're not performing to 55,000 people in a stadium, and that's a totally different ballgame.
Nervous, or
I would have been nervous.
A little bit, yeah.
I think her first couple notes, I was kind of like, oh no,
a repeat of New Year's.
This is gonna be bad. But then she got the hang of it, and it seemed like she was having more fun. And then when Taylor started singing, I could see her nodding, like she was like, yeah, you go, girl, you got this.
Well, that brings me to an interesting point too, considering Taylor's vocals on Let It Go. It's kind of unfortunate to say this, but I think a lot of the music Taylor typically sings doesn't actually give her the freedom to really showcase her true abilities as a vocalist. Because Let It Go is a tougher song than she normally sings vocally, I think. And she really hit it dead on. Like, she did a great job.
Yeah, and then when she sang Here in Tampa by Steve, can you remind me of her name?
Alicia Cara.
Alicia Cara. It was in R&B song, and I really liked the vibe that I got from her when she sang her part of that song. It was just really cool and really different. So I think maybe it also must be just that we're used to Taylor singing her own songs, so when she sings someone else's songs, it's special, so then we think it's better.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
So what do you guys think? Wrap up the discussion? Should we start to wrap it up?
Do we have another giveaway?
Of course we have another giveaway. That'll be the last thing we do, though.
Okay.
Don't we want people to stay for the last part of our conversation? Let's be real here.
By this point, they're only stay.
They're only staying for the free t-shirt.
The chance of free stuff. Like I only go to parties for free food.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. No, Steve, I don't.
So what was the absolute number one highlight of the entire tour for you guys?
I liked it when she sang All Too Well on the B stage in Los Angeles. Although I wasn't there for that.
Steve?
Someone else on the Twitter said
I
it too.
I liked Wildest Dreams. To be able to see that is kind of like a little bit of a production there. The whole underwater and the piano was really cool. It was a good use of that song.
You know,
Love that
speaking
song.
of the whole underwater effect, that piano casing, this is another fun behind the scenes fact I picked up in my research here. The way they created that was by blowing fabric through water and then using, oh gosh, what's the, it's not metal, it's
Were you talking about the way they created the piano?
the casing for the
alien
piano. I mean, the
piano?
piano was a piano, it was a keyboard. But that casing that had that wavy
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
The point of getting at it was actually created because Steve, you're talking about the water effect.
Right.
It was actually created by blowing fabric through water. That's how those free-forming shapes took place. It was custom made, so they blow it through the water, it makes those wavy shapes, and then they created a mold out of that, and then plastered it and the metallic on the casing on the outside and that whole thing. So,
It sounds like really expensive art.
yeah, well, that's the point. Is it was a work of art and it was actually created using water. So,
Mhm.
it was very, very fitting. But for me, the highlight of the tour going back again is Kobe Bryant.
Really?
I would never have picked that. Steve, you have to understand. So Kobe was drafted into the NBA in 1996 by the Charlotte Hornets, who don't exist anymore. He was a draft day trade for Vlade Divac for the Lakers. So he's been with the Lakers since day one, 1996. I was 8 years old at the time. I have been a Kobe fan ever since. I've been a Kobe fan since before I ever knew the name Taylor Swift. So my love of Kobe goes way, 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 way back. Like he is the
Don't
man.
you have one
So
of his standees?
I do. I have a life-size Kobe Bryant. He's down in my garage.
He's protecting your car.
He's protecting my car. I also have a life-size Shaq and Michael Jordan in there too. Yeah, they protect my car for me. They're very big men. But yeah, I mean, I've been such a big Kobe fan, and just the moment was so like just the combined moment of everything, because the reason he was there was to present a banner for Taylor for being the artist with the most sold out shows at the Staples Center. And they unveil the banner, and there it is hanging next to all the Lakers championship banners. And I'm a Laker at heart. I know they're not doing as well as they used to be, and it makes me sad that they're not a winning franchise anymore. But I'm still a Lakers fan through and through, and it holds a special place in my heart to see Taylor, who I've become such a big fan of in the last several years, to have her with a banner hanging right there next to all those Lakers banners.
Mm.
It's very special.
That would be
Okay.
cool to see that in person. Too.
Yep.
Yeah. I know Steve is all like, football.
I like football. I'm
Basketball's
nothing against
better.
basketball. Yeah.
Basketball's better. It's a better
Not really
sport.
a sports person.
Basketball requires far more skill and finesse than football does.
Well, I like, if there was any special guest, I like the musical special guest that would do a song versus people walking down the catwalk or that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right, there are a couple tweets coming in still.
Oh, Sarah Miller said Wildest Dreams and the clean speeches are
The clean speeches were,
the clean speeches are wonderful.
For any non-song, that was probably the best thing.
It was.
I think
And like, people broke down too. They really took her words to heart. There was a girl not too far from me that like totally broke down crying because it
In
was
Tampa?
not in Tampa, actually in
Oh,
Pittsburgh.
okay. Yeah.
But
we were with Steve in Tampa, you would have seen it if
no,
you saw
maybe not. Maybe it was a quiet breakdown.
maybe no.
Yeah, some of those were really good. Some of the things she said, and I know some people got even some of the words she said like tattooed.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they have done that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 13, then guys, how would you rank this tour? Where 1 sucks and 13 is awesome and amazing.
I would give it a 12.5.
12.5, Steve.
I'm gonna go 13.
Oh,
It was-
13.
It was a good tour. I'd do it again.
It's really hard because rankings are all relative, right? So compared to any other artist tours, it's an absolute 100%
Oh yeah.
13.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
When you compare Taylor to herself, though,
Well, are we?
gosh, it's so difficult.
That's how I was doing it. Yeah.
I kind of have to go with Diane in that 12.5 range, only because it didn't have certain magic elements to it. But it was still awesome. You know,
There
it was
you
so
go. Yeah.
really awesome.
The thing that I felt like where the tour was lacking is the special songs that she would sing at the end of the catwalk. I really loved it during the Red Tour when she would say, "Hey, this person on Twitter really wanted to hear this song," or "This girl on
On the Red
Taylor
Tour.
Connect
Mhm.
really wanted to hear this," and she would take requests from fans, and there were all sorts of like really songs that we hadn't heard in a while, although she did sing our song a lot. This time it felt like she picked maybe like 5 songs and just went, and did those over and over again. Although she did sing Holy Ground, All Too Well, and Should Have Said No, which were different.
Mhm.
But
Steve, do you know why Diane likes that she took requests on the last tour? Is because Diane tweeted at Taylor Swift 13 and requested that she play Mine at a show she was going to, and Taylor said, "Someone on Twitter asked me to play this," and she played Mine.
I
There you go.
cried. Oh my god, I was shaking. I was so happy. I mean, there's no way to prove that that was me, but
There
still,
could
the
have been
fact that I
thousands of people that
tweeted it
requested
Right.
that
Play
same
and it
song.
mine.
happened, it was amazing. I was like,
Uh-huh.
she's
Yeah,
really
so-
singing mine.
Overall, it was a phenomenal tour, guys, and I really had a lot of fun hanging out with you and taking these live tweets as they came in. Whoa,
Oh, someone said I thought Adam gives everyone a 13.
that's Clever
Finally,
Chloe
she's
again.
actually doing a real rating. I like this girl. Let's
Clever
keep her.
Chloe, I did give it a 13 relative to other artists.
But you still gave it a 12.5 out of 13.
Mhm.
But I already admitted earlier this wasn't my favorite.
Chloe's calling you out.
Yep.
You're mean. You're not my friend anymore. Any
Oh
of you.
my.
I disown you all.
Oh, someone said they would give it an 8. We have to talk later.
Whoa, woo.
World to Taylor,
Oh.
an 8.
Why? Well, we're doing this last giveaway. Tell us why you rank it so low.
But that's still not.
So yeah, last giveaway. So I have sizes small and medium. We've already had 2 winners this show. Looking for our 3rd and final winner of the live episode.
Oh, and before you do this, just to fix my error, she also sang Ronan in Arizona.
She did that because Maya Thompson was in the audience.
Cry.
And from what I understand from a blog post, Taylor actually asked Maya Thompson for permission to do that. She wanted to do that
I would
for
have
her.
too, because you don't want to sing that song if you think, she's there to have fun and, not want to think about her poor little baby.
If anyone's confused, Maya Thompson is Ronan's mother. That is the mother of the child that the song was written about. So 3rd and final question, as we wait for our 8 person to tell us why she gave it an 8. How many countries will the 1989 World Tour visit by the end of its run?
Go count.
Let us know. Tweet us with the hashtag Taylor Talk Live with the answer to that question. Whoever gets the right answer first is the winner of the 3rd and final shirt.
Adam, I have something for you.
Steve has something for us.
I know that we've debated about this before, and I don't think we actually talked about it in terms of 1989, but on the Red Tour, when she redid some of her classic songs, you weren't a huge fan of them. What did you think of the ones that she played on this tour from her previous albums?
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, you already know how I feel about We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. I think it's phenomenal and better than the original. So otherwise, I guess you would be referring to Love Story, right?
And I Knew You Were Trouble.
And I Knew You Were Trouble.
Okay.
I Knew You Were Trouble. I was slightly distracted by all the nearly naked men.
Me
So-
too.
I was distracted in a different way than you were.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I was slightly like, wait, what? Wait, hang on. What? Gross. No, I don't. I'm not comfortable right now.
I really like that performance.
So I was always a little bit distracted during that rendition of I Knew You Were Trouble. However, I do commend her on her vocals. But for me, it's just not, that version is not my favorite.
You're talking
Mhm.
about I Knew You Were Trouble?
I Knew You Were Trouble.
Oh, for me, that was better.
Here's the thing.
one on
The
album.
original version, I like the sound of it better.
Did you
This
like the
version-
dubstep part of it? Is that what you liked?
I don't know if it's necessarily that, but just the fact that it was a little bit more upbeat, because you know how I am with upbeat versus slow songs. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just like the sound of the original version better. Otherwise, her vocals on it, though, she outdid herself on the new version.
It definitely
as
had
opposed
more
to the
soul, I think.
original version.
It had
Yeah,
more
it definitely had
feeling.
that additional level of emotion put into it, and as Diane said, soul.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was our last one? Love Story?
Love Story, which you didn't like.
No, I didn't like that one. I can't really even cite why, because I tuned out when that one was on.
Wow.
Wasn't it the same version she debuted at the award show with those weird like?
No, it wasn't an award show.
No?
She debuted it at iHeartRadio.
Oh yeah.
I love that version, although I admit when she sings it on tour, I do kind of tune out, because then that's her third song when she's up there on the catwalk, and it's just it just sort of runs together in my head, and I feel bad that it does, but it does.
Oh my gosh, 10 new tweets.
10 tweets. Okay, let's see. Let's see who our winner chicken dinner is. You can't say the right answer or another answer. You have to commit to one.
I always go with the first answer in that case.
If we're going with the first answer, then we have a winner.
That was the only person that got it right.
I think we have a winner.
So Beth came back. What did she say? She just tweeted us again though.
Oh, now which one's your answer?
She just gave us a third answer.
No, she gave us 4 answers. How are we supposed to? You have to commit to
Increasing
an
your
answer.
odds of winning.
Yeah, but nobody else even got it. Some people were close. What's your source, Adam? Did you go through and count?
If you want my source, it is the Xfinity behind the scenes video.
Okay, so I hope Xfinity is correct.
They are the tour sponsor, so I would imagine their answer would be correct.
Everyone is wrong. You're all wrong. You're all wrong.
Wow.
Diane's mean. Like, you could say keep trying, guys, and be a little bit more encouraging.
But they already gave an answer. You don't want to give another answer.
Well, here's two new results. 53. Are there even 53 countries?
In the world,
Yes.
there's around 200.
You're right.
In particular, I think this tour is going to. How many did I say earlier? I said it earlier.
You didn't say how many countries. 'Cause
I
that's the
know.
That's the answer.
Oh,
to the
yeah.
question. You can't say that.
You can't say that.
I said
that
how
it
many
would-
cities. I think,
Well,
earlier.
we should get out our timer, because if nobody gets it, then we have. Oh, I'm so confused. Is that it? They seem hesitant.
That's still the right answer, though.
Okay, then we're going with them because they just gave that number. They didn't confuse it with anything else.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who is it?
her name is Claire Sailor_Twips.
Twips said 12. 12 countries.
12
12.
countries is the
12
correct answer.
countries.
And what 12 countries would those be?
I don't know. Ask the Xfinity people that came up with those stats.
You can look at the set list and count.
Well, let's do this actually. Wikipedia. Wikipedia is our friend. We're gonna find out right now, Steve. You and Diane have a nice little chit chat for a moment.
So I'm also looking, but I'm trying to find it on her tour website.
The problem with her website is she only has the shows moving forward. She doesn't have the full-
TaylorSwift.com/tour is not a page. Who made this website?
All right, so we have Japan, 1, United States, 2, Germany, 3, Netherlands, 4, Scotland, 5, England, 6, Ireland, 7, Canada, 8,
Did you already count the United States?
Singapore, 9, China, 10, Australia, 11. What am I missing?
Yeah. Did you count Canada? Because Canada's
thought
not,
I did.
not the same as the United States.
Try it again.
1.
And
2,
also, depending
3,
on who
4,
you're
5,
talking to, are
6,
England and
7,
Scotland different countries?
8,
Isn't that the UK?
11. Well, according to Wikipedia, it's 11, but according to the tour sponsor, it's 12. So I'm going to stick with 12.
What's that other country that she's going to? The secret.
I don't know, but who are we going to trust? Wikipedia or the tour
Because
sponsor?
the people, so then the people who went through and counted maybe Wikipedia, some people said 11 before they said 12. Someone explain this to me.
12 is the official answer. Whoever said 12 first and only 12.
See, this is why Diane likes words and not numbers.
Well, this is also a geography question in a way too.
Oh my goodness. We need to wrap up this episode, guys.
Yeah.
Let's just say goodbye and run away.
Say
Not-
goodbye and run, huh? So I hope everybody enjoyed joining us live. It was a lot of fun following the hashtag on Twitter and getting to interact with you guys and have you guys send in answers and trivia questions and things for the show. The 3 people who won the 3 t-shirts, we're definitely going to be reaching out to you pretty soon to get some information from you so we can send you out the correct size and to the correct location.
Did Wikipedia not list New Zealand? Because that's the other one then.
Yeah, it didn't list New
That's
Zealand.
it. That's 12.
Ah, there's your 12.
Thank you.
Okay. So there's 12. 12 is the correct answer. And who was that? Claire that got it first?
Yes, Claire. I saved her tweet.
She said 12 with question
said
marks, but she said
12,
12 and only
But she
12.
just
So we're going
said
to count that
12,
one.
so that was your answer. You have to submit it.
Got to
Yeah.
commit. All right. So thank you to everybody who tuned in live to join us. If you missed anything or ever want to go back for whatever reason, we're going to take the audio from this live video feed and we are going to publish it to our normal iTunes feed. So that way, all the subscribers and people who are not able to make it to the live episode due to time constraints or whatever the case may be, will still be able to
And you
tune
can
in
still
and
watch it
listen.
on the YouTube, right? Won't this become a YouTube video?
It
Yep.
will. So if you
We'll link
continue
that
to
in the
follow
episode.
link to taylortalk.org/live, you'll be able to watch the video of it there. I guess that was more for the benefit of people that are listening to the audio only in the future, our future people who are not here live with
Future
us.
people.
I'm not
People
there
of the
either. The
future.
future people.
All right, guys. So I think it's time to bid you adieu. We've been with you for about an hour and 40 minutes. That's incredible that
Oh my gosh, that's a
as
long
many
time.
people have stuck with us as they have. I've been watching the number go up and down and up and down and up and down. Some people have come, some people have gone. I'm sure some people left and came back, and we were still here talking.
They're like, they're still here.
Either way, we're still here, and now it's time to go. So, Steve, what episode was this?
196.
So for episode 196 of Taylor Talk, the Taylor Swift podcast, this has been Adam.
Diane.
And Steve.
Saying thank you guys so much for celebrating our 4th anniversary with us for this live episode. We hope you enjoyed it, especially those that stuck around for the whole time. It's been a lot of fun, guys. We'll see you all next time for the next episode, which will be back on our regular schedule.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.